Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for June 4th. I want to start by saying this is an off-camera day for me. I've gone back through my videos and found something for you to watch while I give you today's history, and hopefully I'll feel like being in front of the lens again tomorrow. If not, I'll find something else for you to watch. I thank you for your tolerance in this matter. Moving forward, this is June 4th, and June 4th is the 155th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 156th in leap years, with 210 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is stigma. Stigma is a noun that means a mark of shame or infamy, a birthmark or scar, an identifying mark of a disease, the tip of the pistil of a flower where pollen is deposited, or a mark burned into the skin of a person. Stigma comes to us from Latin, who got it from Greek, who got it from Indo-European root words, which also gave us ticket, etiquette, instinct, astigmatism, thistle, tiger, and stake. Earliest documented use of the word stigma is 1596. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. I ask you to go ahead and click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others by a link in an email, messaging, or social media, and let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And with that, we're going to start today's history in 1411, when King Charles VI granted a monopoly for the ripening of Roquefort cheese to the people of Roquefort-sur-Soulzon, as they had been doing for centuries. On June 4th, 1561, the steeple of St. Paul's Cathedral, the medieval Cathedral of London, was destroyed in a fire caused by lightning. It was never rebuilt. On June 4th, 1792, Captain George Vancouver claimed Puget Sound for the Kingdom of Great Britain. On June 4th, 1812, following Louisiana's admittance as a United States state, the Louisiana Territory was renamed the Missouri Territory. On June 4th, 1825, General Lafayette, a French officer in the American Revolutionary War, spoke at what would become Lafayette Square, Buffalo, New York, during his visit to the United States. On June 4th, 1876, an express train called the Transcontinental Express arrived in San Francisco by way of the first Transcontinental Railroad, only 83 hours and 39 minutes after leaving New York City. That's about 3.5 days if you're curious. This is the birthday of British illustrator and comics artist Mabel Lucy Attwell, born June 4th, 1879. She's best known for cute, nostalgic drawings of children based on her daughter Peggy. Her drawings are featured on many postcards, advertisements, posters, books, and figurines. Ms. Atwell lived to the age of 85. On June 4th, 1896, Henry Ford completed the Ford Quadricycle, his first gasoline-powered automobile, and gave it a successful test run. On June 4th, 1912, Massachusetts became the first state of the United States to set a minimum wage. On June 4th, 1919, the United States Congress approved the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, guaranteeing suffrage to women. They then sent it along to the states for ratification. This is the birthday of American actor and director Dennis Weaver, born June 4th, 1924. He has a decent filmography, but what I particularly remember about him is his portrayal of Chester in the long-running TV series Gunsmoke. Dennis Weaver lived to the age of 81. This is the birthday of Dr. Ruth Westheimer, born June 4th, 1928. She gained fame as a sex therapist, but she's also a Holocaust survivor. Still alive, Dr. Westheimer turns 92 in 2020. This is the birthday of American actor Bruce Dern, born June 4th, 1936. Still alive, he turns 84 in 2020. On June 4th, 1939, the MS St. Louis a ship carrying 963 Jewish refugees, was denied permission to land in Florida after having already been turned away from Cuba. Forced to return to Europe, more than 200 of its passengers later died in Nazi concentration camps. On June 4, 1961, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev sparked the Berlin Crisis by threatening to sign a separate peace treaty with East Germany and ending American, British, and French access to East Berlin. That Khrushchev, what a character. On June 4, 1970, Tonga gained independence from the United Kingdom. On June 4, 1989, the Tiananmen Square protests were suppressed in Beijing by the People's Liberation Army. People's Liberation Army. Now, there's you a nice little piece of doublespeak. People's Liberation Army is the armed forces of the People's Republic of China, run by the Communist Party of China. The only liberating they did that day was to liberate the lives of some 240 to 1,000 students who lost their lives while protesting. On June 5, 1998, Terry Nichols was sentenced to life in prison for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing. And I think that's going to do it for us today. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. I always do. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share if you found this video interesting or informative. Feel free to check out my other channel, 8 Susquehanna. There's a link to that in the show notes. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Whoops, that was a butt dial. Okay. We'll start from the beginning. Do that again. Signed the it's a mouthful. Archaeologist. Thank goodness for editing. And we'll probably leave that part out. I don't know how all that's going to go together, or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Yeah, we're going to cut those out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.